This is the AB4WS radio show. Every week, bringing you the exciting amateur radio news and information happening in the greater Cincinnati, Ohio, Kentucky, and Indiana areas.
The AB4WS radio show can be found on the Apple Podcast app or your favorite podcast application. And now also available on the AB4WS radio show YouTube channel. Dennis Lutz, W2QN, the Kentucky Section Emergency Coordinator, has announced that Luke Schwartz, KR4KOS, will be coordinating an effort to rebuild and rebrand a unified communications channel for the official Kentucky areas, including website, Facebook, and Discord platform. As a part of this effort is launching an updated website, kyares.org. This initiative is focused on improving communications, accessibility, and consistency across all the districts to better support the mission statewide. The Owensboro Amateur Radio Club will conduct its first fox hunt exercise Saturday, April 4th, calling it an electronic Easter egg hunt to celebrate the holiday. The starting and ending times are yet to be announced, along with the general area of the fox and transmitter frequency. An amateur radio license is not needed to participate in the fox hunt, since all you need is a receiver and you don't need to transmit. But you will need a radio capable of receiving simplex frequencies in the 2-meter, 144 to 147 megahertz range. A directional antenna and attenuator is helpful, but not required. Check out the Owensboro Amateur Radio Club Facebook page for more information. The Voice of America Museum of Broadcasting, in conjunction with the Westchester Amateur Radio Club, has announced expanded museum hours for the Dayton Hamvention 2026. They will be open Thursday, May 14th, Friday, May 15th, and Saturday, May 16th from noon to 9 p.m., and Sunday, May 17th from noon to 5 p.m. If you're interested in radio, history, or broadcasting, I highly recommend you visiting the museum. It's just a short drive south of the Hamvention and is a great piece of radio history in the home of the Westchester Amateur Radio Club station. Check it out. For more information, go to voamuseum.org. The Lake Cumberland Amateur Radio Association is looking for amateur radio operators to assist with one of the most exciting events of the year, the 2026 McCreary Gravel Rally, which will be held on April 25th in Stearns, Kentucky. Ham radio plays a very important part in helping get communication into the valleys and hollers that make up the rally race course. Check out the previous year's races for the Lake Cumberland Amateur Radio Association videos on the El Cara YouTube channel. If you want to sign up for the event, go to NASARALLYSPORT.com/main/account. For more information, contact Mike, KY6MM, at KY6MM@ARRL.net. 8 scouts, 7 boys, and 1 girl from Ohio and Kentucky recently earned their Radio Merit Badge at the annual Merit Badge Challenge sponsored by the Dan Beard Council. This event took place at Scott High School in Taylor Mill, Kentucky. The scouts learned how radio plays a critical role in our modern world and how amateur radio operators are right in the middle of it all. As a capstone activity of the event, each of the scouts made at least one contact on HF radio under the KY4BSA call sign. The CQWPX contest was in full swing, and the scouts were able to complete QSOs with hams in Portugal, Latvia, Poland, England, and Italy on 15 meters. To say that they were excited by this would be an understatement. They also completed QSOs with POTA activators across the country and were more than happy to chat with them. One of the scouts was brave enough to call CQ on 17 meters and was immediately answered by 2 different hams in Texas. The scouts are invited to participate in the ARRL Field Day with the Northern Kentucky Amateur Radio Club in June. Registration for this event can be completed by Googling Dan Beard Council Calendar and searching for Field Day. Also, the scouts on the north side of the Ohio River were busy as well. The Radio Scouting Committee joined PAC 750 for their annual EMS night at the Heritage Presbyterian Church in Mason, Ohio. Josh, K8WOO, ran a sky-worn weather spotting demonstration along with first responders. Scouts got a hands-on time with radio equipment and heard firsthand how amateur radio supports public safety. Jim Schaefer, N4RJH of Bowling Green, Kentucky, has become a silent key. Jim held a general class license and was a member of the Kentucky Colonels Amateur Radio Club. Our condolences to his family and friends. With the onset of the usual spring weather, it is important for all amateurs to be weather aware. And a nice addition to help you keep up with the weather happenings when things get dicey is the Kentucky Severe Storm WeatherNet, held on XLX 721 Alpha Multi-Mode Communications Network. Because of the history of increased severe weather, the monthly scheduled net, held the first Monday of the month at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, has now become a weekly net for the next few months. This gives you a chance to check in and make sure your equipment is working so that when a storm hits, you are ready. There are multiple ways to connect to this multi-mode communications network. If you have one of the M1KE devices, just connect it to XLX 721 Alpha. For DMR, connect your hotspot or connect the repeater to Brandmeister Talk Group 3121232. For C4FM radios, connect your hotspot to YSF Reflector 51149. There are two ways to connect to the network by D-Star. Either connect to DCS 721 Alpha or connect to REF056 Alpha. For Echolink, connect to KY4RW-L. This allows everyone to communicate with each other regardless of the mode you're using, and you can hear everyone regardless of the mode that they are on. This really neat system is up 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, except for Echolink, which is only active for the net. So check it out anytime. Thanks to Ray, KY4RW, and Larry, NN4H, for this neat multi-mode communication system. 2026 nomination for this year's Kentucky Amateur of the Year is open. The deadline for your candidate's entry is Friday, August 14th, 2026. When submitting the ham you wish to nominate, keep the following in mind. A radio amateur is considerate, loyal, progressive, friendly, balanced, and patriotic. For more information and where to send your candidate application, see the Kentucky Amateur of the Year page on the LouisvilleHamFest.com website. The Flying Pig is coming to town May 1st through the 3rd, and Steve, NATFD, is looking for amateur radio volunteers to assist with the race administration and communications. If you can help out, reach out to Steve, NATFD, at fuse.net. In celebration of the 250th anniversary of the country, the ARRL has kicked off the America 250 Worked All States operating event. Each state will have 2 weeks of using W1AW call with their call sign district. This week from April 1st to April 7th is California W1AW/6, Mississippi W1AW/5, and North Carolina W1AW/4. For the week of April 8th through the 14th is Washington W1AW/7, Missouri W1AW/0, and New Mexico W1AW/5. For more information on this event, go to ARRL.org/America250-WAS. The Brunch Bunch will be meeting on April 11th at 1 p.m. at Jim and Jack's, 3456 River Road in Cincinnati, Ohio. Come on out for a great brunch and ham radio discussion. April 20th at 7 p.m. is the Northern Kentucky Amateur Radio Club meeting at the Bethesda Community Church, 989 East Mount Zion Road in Independence, Kentucky. Everyone's invited, and especially if you're interested in everything you wanted to know about Field Day but were afraid to ask. This special presentation by Mark Volstead, AI4BJ, will be on Field Day 2026 and is open to everyone. So come on out and learn what that Field Day is all about. On Thursday, April 23rd at 6 p.m., there'll be a National Weather Service Weather Spotter Training class at the Grove of Springfield Township, 9150 Winton Road in Cincinnati, Ohio, behind the fire station. Registration opens at 5:30 p.m. Ohio NVIS Day is April 25th from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. This uses special antenna configurations to exercise near vertical incidence skywave propagation, a way to communicate further than VHF and UHF, but remain regional instead of global. A method for emergency and other communications, say Indianapolis or Columbus, using HF frequencies while avoiding international traffic. Many local ham radio clubs will have special activities for this event. For more information, go to ARRL-ohio.org/NVIS.
Repeater news.
Are you looking for the most up-to-date list of repeaters in the greater Cincinnati area? Well, I have an Excel spreadsheet where I've listed repeaters that are active in the area, separated by tabs for each band or mode, so you can easily look for just DMR repeaters or 2-meter analog repeaters and so on. The list includes 2 meters, 220, 440, 6 meters, D-Star, DMR, C4FM, P25, and some other classifications. Every time I update the file, I include the date and the file name so that you know you have the latest update. To download the file, go to the AB4WS Radio Show Facebook page and go to the file section and download the file. If you're not on Facebook, email me at ab4ws.radio@gmail.com and I can email you the latest file. If you see any errors, problems, additions, or corrections, email that information to ab4ws.radio@gmail.com. Thanks to the work from Ray, KY4RW, and David, AD4CC, the WW4KY D-Star repeater on 145-420 is now able to connect to REF056 Bravo. The reflector software was updated and the problem has been resolved. The WW4KY D-Star repeater can be connected to any D-Star reflector. When you are finished listening, just return it back to REF056 Bravo and use it to check into the Kentucky D-Star net every Thursday night at 7 p.m. Eastern Time on REF056 Bravo, or also connect to the Kentucky Severe Weather Net on Monday evenings at 8 p.m. on REF056 Alpha or DCS 721 Alpha.
Hamfest.
April 11th is the Cuyahoga Falls Amateur Radio Club 70th Hamfest at the Media Open Sons Expo Center, 48 East Bath Street in Cuyahoga Falls, Ohio. For more information, go to cfarc-hamfest.org. April 25th is the Tusco Amateur Radio Club 2026 Hamfest Computer and Electronics Show at the Tuscarawas County Fairgrounds, 259 South Tuscarawas Avenue in Dover, Ohio. For more information, go to w8zx.net/Hamfest. April 26th is the Athens, Ohio Hamfest at the Athens Community Center, 701 East State Street in Athens, Ohio. For more information, go to ac-ara.org. May 2nd is the Lucas County Amateur Radio Emergency Service Hamfest from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. at the Merchants Landing Bingo Hall, 6182 Summit Street in Toledo, Ohio. The granddaddy of all Hamfests, the Dayton Hamvention, will be held May 15th, 16th, and 17th at the Greene County Fair and Expo Center, 210 Fairground Road in Xenia, Ohio. For more information, go to hamvention.org. The 2026 Cincinnati Hamfest and ARRL Great Lakes Division Convention will be held on Saturday, August 15th from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. at the Claremont County Fairgrounds, 1000 Locust Street in Owensville, Ohio. Greater Louisville Hamfest will be on September 12th from 7:30 a.m. to 2 p.m. at the Parquet Springs Conference Center, 395 Parquet Springs Drive in Shepherdsville, Kentucky, just off I-65 at exit 117. A number of interesting forums have already been scheduled and some really neat door prizes. For more information, go to LouisvilleHamfest.com.
Are you looking to upgrade your license? Do you have someone else that's interested in the hobby? Here are some upcoming exam opportunities.
The Milford Amateur Radio Club holds amateur radio testing on the third Thursday of each month at 6 p.m. at the Miami Township Civic Center, 6101 Meyer Drive in Milford, Ohio. Please pre-register at milfordhamradio.org. The Dayton Amateur Radio Association has exams frequently. For their exam schedule, email exams.w8bi@gmail.com. On April 20th at 5:30 p.m., the Northern Kentucky Amateur Radio Club will hold an amateur radio exam session at the Bethesda Community Church, 989 East Mount Zion Road in Independence, Kentucky. You must register by going to hamstudy.org/sessions/NKY-VE. Special thanks to this week's content contributors: KE8BBC, KY4ROD, AC4HI, KD9EYU, WB8VNH, KY4GW, WB8YYS, KD8ZLD, K9HIO, N8LAR, K4NKU.
If you have something you think other amateur radio operators in the area would be interested in, send the information or your recorded audio file attached in an email to ab4ws.radio@gmail.com.
Covering your amateur radio news and information in the greater Cincinnati, Ohio, Kentucky, and Indiana tri-state area, this is Jack Prindle, AB4WS in Big Bone, Kentucky.